In the January 10th edition of The Economist, there's this very interesting article on the UK current account deficit. The first thing that's to draw your attention to in the article is that the writer notes that Britain's economy is subject to globalisation. He goes on to say that Britain is an open economy. Globalisation is important to us, international trade is very important to us, and there's lots of investment, that's FDI, that goes in and out of the UK economy. Indeed, if you look at the article carefully, you can see that Britain leads the G20 in overseas investment. So there's lots of outward investment from the UK. It's worth noting here that the government sees increasing inward investment, that is encouraging foreign firms to buy British firms and expand in Britain, as something that increases our exports too. Inward investment creates jobs, because foreign firms are setting up and employing British people, but also once they've set up here, they'll sell goods often back to their home country because they have an expertise there, so can create goods for export. The article goes on to say that Britain's current account is determined not just by the balance of trade, but also by the income that comes from having these investments abroad. To remind you, the main components of the current account of the balance of payment are the balance of trade in goods and services, current income, and current transfers. Current transfers is the money that's given to and from abroad. Current income is what we're interested in here. That's income from investments that we have abroad. So, for example, the profits earned by British companies that are located abroad coming back. The balance of trade, as you know, exports minus imports of goods and of services. And in the chart in the article, you can see very clearly that investment income that was very, very high here falls significantly after the crash, and with the trade in goods and services continuing to be in deficit, with income in deficit now not compensating, we no longer have the get out of jail free card. This is explained in the article here, that they've fallen now, and so as a result the current account deficit has increased, even though the trade balance has improved a little bit. This squares the circle that you might have been worried about why, even though we're doing our very best and the exchange rate's improved, the current account seems to get worse and worse. Let's just see now if we can work out what the article is saying. Now, always be careful of the fallacy that a country is the same as a person, but we do use that analogy quite a lot when looking at the balance of payments accounts. If a country runs a deficit on its balance of trade in goods and services, it's spending more on goods, that's imports, than it's making through exports. So in effect it's borrowing. Now, in the past the UK has borrowed a lot, but it spent some of it on overseas investment, and these overseas investments have been very profitable. So there's been high levels of investment income coming back in the current income part of the current account. This has allowed us to continue with trade deficits because we've covered it by the earnings on our foreign investments. We're acting like one of those financial firms they call hedge funds. We're borrowing loads of money, but we're putting it into investments which are doing well, so we can pay off our interest on that borrowing, as it were, by the money from getting the money we get from those investments. But that's all gone now, so we've got a real problem. We need to rebalance. And without that get out of jail free card, we now face the genuine problem of a balance of trade, a current account deficit. We're borrowing from the future to spend more now. The article says there are 3 ways to avoid this fate. And it goes on to say, as I said, that there are 3 ways to avoid this fate, and also that this has worrying implications for whether Britain's recovery is sustainable. It's imbalanced, there are not enough exports. So an interesting article all round.